Imagine getting sent back in time with the person you hate the most. At least, you think you do. Yo, Manga Offload here, and today we're wrapping up the final part of Kouhei and Yuzuka's beautifully stubborn love story. If you haven't seen the previous parts, check the description. Alright, let's dive in. The chapter opens with Yuzuka and Chizuru locked in an intense game of table tennis. Kouhei watches from the side, marveling at how beautiful they both look in yukatas. He admits to himself, in his old life working that exploitative 9-to-5, he never could have witnessed something like this. But his admiration quickly turns to disbelief when he realizes how painfully unathletic Chizuru is. Chizuru eventually taps out, begging Kouhei to sub in because Yuzuka's too strong. Yuzuka lights up immediately. This is the opponent she's been waiting for. Kouhei smirks, warning her that he's not holding back. And after a few teasing exchanges, the match begins. Chizuru watches from the side, scribbling notes, probably plotting manga greatness while these two fight. As the game heats up, Kouhei finds himself impressed. Yuzuka's movements are sharp, her stamina crazy good. He remembers how she used to collapse after the intense cardio sessions of their past life. That thought alone sends his brain into a full blush overload, and in his daze, Yuzuka scores the winning shot. Cut to Chizuru's grandma announcing dinner while Kouhei and Yuzuka bicker like toddlers in the background. At dinner, Chizuru tells them it's time to get to work on the manuscript and that they can chill with the formalities. She's sketching while Kouhei and Yuzuka go through her story notes. Kouhei takes one look and realizes if he's really going to be her editor one day, he's got a lot of studying to do. Chizuru finally shows them her new character design, which, surprise, surprise, looks suspiciously like Yuzuka. They both praise it, and Kouhei asks if it's a rom-com. She just smiles and says the theme is love. When Yuzuka asks about the plot, Chizuru explains it's about a boy and girl who like each other but are too prideful to admit it, always fighting until an accident forces them to realize how much they truly mean to each other. Sound familiar? Yeah, Kouhei definitely thinks so. But Chizuru continues. She says she believes people can change as long as they're alive. If her manga can inspire that kind of change in someone, even just a little, then it's all worth it. Yuzuka is amazed at how deep that sounds for an 18-year-old. Chizuru's just confused why she called her that. Meanwhile, Kouhei is lost in thought, her words echoing in his mind. As long as they keep living. In his past life, he and Yuzuka were beyond repair. If not for this second chance, they'd still be stuck hating each other. Now that things are peaceful, he figures maybe there's no need to change anything else. But before he can finish that thought, Yuzuka suddenly calls him out for daydreaming about her naked during their ping pong match. He freaks out. And then he wakes up. Turns out it was all a dream. He finds Yuzuka sleeping beside him and gently covers her with a blanket, trying to shake off his guilt. To calm himself, he heads for a morning sauna. Inside, he can't stop thinking about Yuzuka showing up in his dreams. He mutters, "Something's off," and a familiar voice answers, "What's off?" It's Yuzuka, in the female sauna. Kouhei's brain short-circuits. Is he still dreaming? She just stares, deadpan, asking if he's half asleep. They start arguing about when they even got there, and because Kouhei is Kouhei, he challenges her to a sauna endurance contest. Loser buys the winner a drink. The game begins, and Yuzuka actually holds out longer than he expected, until she cracks, shouting that she can't take it anymore. Victory, Kouhei. Afterwards, Kouhei proudly flexes his win, while Yuzuka rolls her eyes and gets him his prize drink. They chat, and Kouhei notices how much her stamina has improved. She says she's been jogging and dieting since this is her second shot at life. When she hands him the drink, Kouhei blurts out that she doesn't need to change anything. She's already beautiful as she is. That catches her completely off guard. Yuzuka blushes, scolding him for saying something like that so suddenly. Kouhei is just as confused. Why did I even say that? Then Yuzuka flips it back, saying he's changed too. He's stronger now, more confident. And she admits she likes the current him more. Kouhei smiles, saying he feels the same. He prefers this bright, expressive Yuzuka to the cold one from before. She asks if he really means it, and the man turns into a blushing mess. But before things can turn too steamy, Chizuru barges in like the ultimate cockblock, apologizing for interrupting their lovey-dovey time. They both instantly shout, "We're not lovey-dovey!" Morning comes. The three leave the resort, happy and refreshed. Kouhei reflects on how nice it feels to have friends, to relax, to just live. In his old life, he had none of this. No trips, no friends, no rest. Chizuru promises that if her manuscript wins the contest, she'll treat them to another trip. Kouhei is confident she'll win, but both he and Yuzuka refuse the offer, saying they'll work part-time and make more memories together instead. Chizuru's touched, until she smirks and teases, "So, did you two have fun this morning? Guess I'll get a separate room next time." Kouhei and Yuzuka instantly start denying everything as Chizuru laughs. And just like that, the chapter comes to a close. The chapter kicks off with Sana flashing a mischievous, sheepish smile, talking about how she can get Kouhei to spoil her. Kouhei, clearly concerned, reminds her not to forget why they're even outside in the first place. She reassures him she remembers. They're out shopping for Yuzuka's birthday gift. Her birthday's coming up on Sunday, and since he and Yuzuka finally settled their differences, Kouhei wants to give her the proper celebration she deserves this time. Then, a flashback hits. We see a year after they first started dating in their previous life, a slightly older Kouhei and Yuzuka. Kouhei casually asks if she wants anything for her birthday. Yuzuka lights up, surprised he even remembered. Kouhei smiles and tells her, of course he did, she's his girlfriend after all. But then, Yuzuka grabs his hands and says she's fine with just having him around, before pulling one of her classic switches. If he's okay with it, she says maybe he could put a little more effort into their late-night adult fun time. Yeah, she really said that. But things went downhill fast after their marriage. Work kept Kouhei too busy, celebrations stopped, and by the time they divorced, they weren't even exchanging birthday messages anymore. Back in the present, Kouhei's stuck again. He knows Yuzuka loves anime, but he wants to get her something with meaning, something that lasts. Just as he's deep in thought, Sana suddenly screams, scaring the life out of him. Turns out she just saw a cute doll. He also remembers that in his past life, Sana and Yuzuka were close enough to hang out even without him. But before he can say anything else, Sana shamelessly asks him to buy her something too. Kouhei refuses instantly, reminding her they're not here for her and that she better stick to their deal. The mall's huge, so he's confident they'll find a gift eventually, though it has been a while since he's gone shopping like this. We get a quick montage of the two wandering through different stores until Kouhei suddenly stops. He spots a clothing shop, the very same one he used to buy clothes for his first date. Meanwhile, Sana's eyes are locked on a maid uniform display. She turns to Kouhei and asks if he thinks Yuzuka would look good in it. Kouhei hesitates for a moment, then admits, yeah, she definitely would. But he quickly shakes it off, saying getting her cosplay would be a bit too much. Sana grins and teases him about the time he made Yuzuka wear cosplay before. Kouhei's stunned. How the hell does she even know that? Sana probably says Yuzuka told her herself, and even complimented him for pulling it off. Kouhei sighs and says there's nothing to feel guilty about anyway. He's tired of searching, so he suggests they grab something to eat. Sana's immediately hyped. She wants pancakes. Scene shift. They're now in a cafe, with Sana happily devouring her pancakes while thanking her brother for treating her. Kouhei is half listening, half daydreaming about how cute the waitress uniforms are, until a small pang hits him. This cafe is going to shut down in a few years. And then he spots her. Yuzuka. She's working there, in that exact cute uniform. Kouhei freezes. Why is she here? Sana, on the other hand, just squeals about how adorable Yuzuka looks. Kouhei turns to Sana, asking if she brought him here on purpose. Sana admits that Yuzuka told her about this job, but asked her to keep it a secret since she'd be embarrassed if Kouhei found out. But of course, Sana didn't listen. She figured it'd be a waste if Yuzuka couldn't show off a little to her boyfriend. Kouhei is more shocked that Yuzuka trusted Sana enough to confide in her. But before he can process that, Yuzuka walks over, and she's completely stunned to see them both. She immediately asks why they're here. Sana, ever the menace, says they came to see her. Yuzuka sighs and reminds Sana she wanted it kept secret. Kouhei points at Sana like, "See, not my fault." Sana quickly changes the topic, saying she was just talking about how good Yuzuka looks in her uniform. Yuzuka, clearly flustered, says it's too frilly and doesn't suit her at all. Kouhei shakes his head, telling her it suits her perfectly, that she looks cute. He even teases that the cosplay she wore before was way frillier. Yuzuka retorts that she only wore that because she lost their match. Then Sana cuts in, asking if they did anything naughty. Both deny it immediately. A customer calls Yuzuka over, saving her from more embarrassment. She drops their food off and tells them to eat quietly before heading to another table. Kouhei watches her, smiling softly. Sana catches it and teases him, but he tells her to shut it up. Still, he can't help noticing how much she's changed. She's more confident now, a far cry from how she was pre-regression. Then it hits him. The perfect gift idea. He's going to take her to a maid cafe. Sana nearly chokes on her pancake. "Have you lost your mind?" Kouhei explains that Yuzuka actually likes those kinds of outfits. He remembered during their past life, they walked past a maid cafe once and he could tell she wanted to go in, but he was too shy to suggest it. So he finds a nearby cafe that lets guests cosplay too. Sana thinks it's fine, but mutters that the real reason he's doing it is just to see Yuzuka dressed up again. Kouhei quickly denies it, but before he can finish defending himself, trouble brews. Some random guy starts hitting on Yuzuka. She tries to politely tell him it's against store rules, but he keeps pushing. Then he grabs her arm, insisting they hang out after her shift. That's when Kouhei steps in. He grips the man's wrist and tells him to back off. He's making Yuzuka uncomfortable. Yuzuka's frozen in place, eyes wide. The guy growls, demanding to know what Kouhei's problem is, and says this is none of his business. And Kouhei just says it, calm and cold. "It is my business." Then he grabs Yuzuka's hand and declares, "Because she's my wife." Silence. Everyone's jaws hit the floor. Best panel ever! Yuzuka's face turns bright red. The guy swings at Kouhei but gets intercepted mid-punch by the cafe chef, who drags him to the back to talk. Chaos settles. Sana rushes up and informs Kouhei and Yuzuka that she called in the chef. Later, Yuzuka quietly thanks Kouhei for stepping in. He smiles, saying it's fine, he's just glad she's safe. Sana makes up some random excuse to leave them alone and dips. Awkward silence. Yuzuka hesitates before bringing up what he said earlier, calling her his wife. Kouhei immediately apologizes, saying she's his ex-wife now. But Yuzuka shakes her head and says it's fine. In fact, hearing him say it made her happy. Kouhei's eyes widen. Before he can even respond, Yuzuka thanks him again and walks away. He stands there, dumbfounded, wondering if Yuzuka still feels the same way he does. And that's where the chapter ends. The next chapter kicks off with Kouhei being greeted by 3 maids in front of a maid cafe. Kouhei decided to celebrate Yuzuka's birthday at a maid cafe, so he came to check things out first. He feels nostalgic looking at the maids, and just then he notices a cute maid who he thinks is the most popular among the others. The maid asks him if he would like to have their special dish, but something feels off. Her voice sounds deep. Kouhei looks closer and is utterly shocked to find out it's Yamada, one of his classmates and a member of the school football team. He's a dude, for now at least. Kouhei tells him he's surprised to see him working at a maid cafe. Yamada smirks and says the job suits him well. Then he starts teasing Kouhei for sneaking off to a maid cafe without telling his girlfriend, Yuzuka. Kouhei quickly explains he's just here to preview the cafe. Yamada gives him a confused look, so Kouhei clarifies that he was planning to bring Yuzuka here for her birthday. Yamada is impressed by his affection for Yuzuka, but then drops the bad news. The cafe will be closing for a while due to renovations. Kouhei is completely shocked, but after hearing the details, he immediately asks Yamada for a favor. Yamada sighs but agrees to help. Scene shifts to Kouhei asking Sana for help with something. She agrees, but asks if he's already picked out a gift for Yuzuka, which shocks him. Sana smirks and says, "What, were you going to pull a 'your gift is me' type thing?" Kouhei tells her not to be a smartass and reminds her to dry her hair, while their parents eavesdrop from the kitchen. Cut to school. Kouhei is now asking Chizuru for a favor too. She agrees, much to Kouhei's delight. But just as they start talking about decorations, Yuzuka suddenly walks in. Yuzuka walks in and asks them what's going on, but they both play dumb. As the days go by, Sana, Kouhei, and Chizuru continue preparing for the big day. Now, in the present, Yuzuka is seen wondering why Sana and Chizuru have been acting so distant lately. She asks Kouhei if he knows what's going on. He plays dumb. Yuzuka sighs and says she might skip the clubroom today. Kouhei panics, grabs her hand, and drags her there anyway. When they walk in, the lights flick on, and Yuzuka freezes. The room is fully decorated, and Sana and Chizuru are both wearing maid outfits, welcoming her with big smiles. Yuzuka, confused, asks Kouhei what's going on, but he tells her to take a seat. Chizuru serves her tea, telling her to relax and make herself at home. She even asks if she wants something sweet. Yuzuka stammers, flustered, but Kouhei tells her to calm down. She's the star of the show today. Then Sana walks in holding a cake. Sana raises the cake with excitement. Meanwhile, Yuzuka is still confused about what's happening. But then, Kouhei, Sana, and Chizuru all shout, "Happy birthday!" Yuzuka blushes as they all smile at her. Chizuru apologizes for keeping it a secret and tells her that Kouhei planned everything. Sana adds that they all did their best and credits Kouhei for the idea. Kouhei blushes and admits he thought she'd like something like this, but then notices she's crying. He panics, asking if she hates it. But Yuzuka shakes her head. She's not upset. She's just really, really happy. She didn't think she'd ever be able to celebrate her birthday again. She thanks Kouhei, saying she feels like the luckiest girl alive. Sana and Chizuru tell her that her happiness is what matters most to them. Then Yuzuka compliments their maid outfits and asks where they got them. Kouhei casually says they came from Yamada, which shocks Yuzuka. Then Sana informs the two that she also got outfits for them to wear. Kouhei freezes, realizing he's about to wear an outfit too. After changing, we see Kouhei wearing a butler uniform and Yuzuka is wearing a maid's uniform. They all take several pictures to treasure the moment. Later, Kouhei and Yuzuka are walking home. Kouhei asks if she enjoyed herself. Yuzuka smiles and says it was the best birthday she's ever had and thanks him. Kouhei blushes and turns away. Then he asks if she can make time next week, saying they should go somewhere since they haven't celebrated enough yet. But deep down, he just wants to ask her out. Yuzuka agrees and asks if she can pick the place. Kouhei agrees. She smiles and says she wants to go to the seaside park, the place they had their first date. And that's where this chapter ends. The final chapter begins with Kouhei standing nervously in the seaside park. Then someone calls out his name. That someone is Yuzuka. Kouhei gets flustered at the sight of her. He tries to say something, but changes his mind and tells her it was nothing and they should get going. But internally, Kouhei points out that the outfit she's wearing is the same one she wore on their first date in their past life. With that said, Kouhei can't help but feel this is their first date all over again. The duo walks around and has a picnic. Then the scene shifts to the duo sitting on a bench while Yuzuka talks about how nostalgic it is sitting on the exact bench they sat on the last time. Suddenly, Kouhei asks her if she's still holding a grudge over their first date. She denies having such and points out that he did drag her around all day then. Kouhei apologizes for that, but still, Yuzuka admits she had a lot of fun that day and it really made her happy, and that's why she wanted to experience it again. Kouhei blushes and tries to hold her hands while he internally acknowledges that he wishes this time would last forever and that he wants to be the only reason Yuzuka smiles like this. But the memories of their behavior after marriage strike in, which makes him stop trying to grab her hand. Then, Kouhei suddenly asks Yuzuka if they could come back here again, since they can hang out as much as they want as friends. He then tells her that it's getting late and they should head back. But Yuzuka suddenly grabs his hands and asks him if they can go see some pretty scenery before they leave. Kouhei gives a confused response. Then Yuzuka points at an observation deck up ahead and tells Kouhei that the sight of a sunset from there is really pretty. Kouhei then reminds her that entry to the place is forbidden because it's dilapidated. But Yuzuka counters him, telling him that at this point in time, it still hasn't been closed down yet. Afterward, we see the duo in the woods. Kouhei asks Yuzuka if they're going the right way. She says probably, but Kouhei doesn't think so. Yuzuka still keeps walking. Then Kouhei tries to stop her and tells her that they're probably going the wrong way and suggests they turn back. Yuzuka refuses to turn back after coming this far because for all they know, the deck could be just a little further. Kouhei sighs and says he would prefer a more certain response than could be. Yuzuka pouts and tells him he can head back if he wants and that she's going on ahead. Kouhei snaps and tells her that she has always been like this. Yuzuka turns in shock. Kouhei continues explaining that even though he's just worried about her, the minute he says something, she gets all grumpy, and he tells her to at least think about his feelings for once. Then Yuzuka snaps back at him and says she knows she can be a little emotional, and points out that Kouhei is always venting his frustration on her. She continues, saying it would be okay if he were able to express his concerns nicely, but instead, he always has to be a prick about it, and that's something that hasn't changed about him. Kouhei then asks her where she gets off saying that, and tells her that she herself hasn't changed as well. Yuzuka's expression turns sad, and she says it seems starting over is impossible after all. Kouhei is left shocked as Yuzuka tells him she had fun before as she walks away. As Kouhei watches her leave, he gets frustrated and wonders what the hell he's doing. He recalls that before their regression, he hated Yuzuka to the point of filing for a divorce. But after the regression, however, they became friends, and he fell in love with her again. But it seems in the end, they're doomed to repeat the same events. Kouhei wonders if it's even possible to fix their relationship, because it seems like the best course of action is to remain friends. Then Kouhei starts to wonder where Yuzuka might have gone, and wonders if she's in any danger. But just then, he spots her on top of the observation deck. As he watches, he's just glad she's not injured. But then he notices the railing she's resting on is about to snap. He dashes to the top of the deck, hoping he can make it in time. And just when the rail snaps and Yuzuka is about to fall, Kouhei stretches his hands and grabs her in the nick of time, pulls her to safety. Kouhei, panting, asks her if she's okay. She says yes and thanks him. She says that she was surprised how the railing just snapped. Kouhei then tells her he spotted it from below and it looked like you were about to fall. Yuzuka is shocked and asks if he came to save her. He says yes, and then says that if he had noticed the car that killed them earlier, he might have been able to protect her back then. Then Yuzuka hugs him, saying it really was like that, confusing Kouhei. Then Yuzuka says that even after they divorced, he should have hated her, but still he tried to protect her. Kouhei tells her his body just moved on its own, plus he didn't even save her at the end. But Yuzuka says he still tried to. She continues with tears in her eyes, saying even now he still tries to protect her despite them just having a fight due to her selfishness. Kouhei smiles and tells her she doesn't have to thank him since thanks to her, he gets to see this lovely scenery. Then Kouhei admits to her that every time he tries to do more than protect her, he ends up hurting her. Yuzuka tells him it goes both ways and that they can work things out this time around, just like the time they went to the zoo. They just need to learn from their mistakes, since this is their second chance at life. Kouhei agrees, pointing out they saved Chizuru and that the future can be changed. Then Yuzuka asks him if he loves her now. He says he does, and then she asks how much. Kouhei takes a deep breath and then tells her that he loves her to the point of wanting to marry her again. Then Yuzuka asks him if he would remarry her. Kouhei stares for a moment, then they grab cheeks, then they both share a kiss. Fast forward 12 years. Chizuru is all grown up and working with Yuzuka and Kouhei at a publishing warehouse. Sana's in a gym, scrolling through her phone, and on her screen is the first page of this very manga. She smiles. We even see Yamada again, transitioned and happy. And finally, we see Kouhei and Yuzuka walking down the road together. He still double-checks traffic before crossing. Trauma doesn't die easy, but at least they're smiling. Together. Two stubborn idiots who looped through time just to fix their love finally made it. I'll give this manga an 8.5 out of 10. Great concept, strong emotional payoff, and a satisfying ending for a couple who were one argument away from a time paradox divorce. Anyway, that's it for this series. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This stuff takes time and effort, and I know you've got a few seconds to spare. Now go watch another recap. Trust me, the next one is wild.